Happy Thursday. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Thursday. It's 8:05 a.m. so far. And one thing that I quickly want to share with you is, first off, the CPI data report was released this morning and it actually came in lower than what was expected. We saw a decline on the month of March of 2025 versus the previous month of March in 2024. We saw a 0.3% increase. So the way that CPI is calculated, there's an exact formula to it. But again, we take away the old month, which is a 0.3% increase. Now we add the new one. Normally, they're either break even and or a small or slight increase. This time it came in at negative 0.1%, showing in that or coming in that with the expectation of 2.5%, but we came in at 2.4%. Core CPI, if I'm not mistaken, came in at 2.8%, which was also lower than what was expected. And we can see that core CPI is declining, overall CPI is declining. But the thing that I want to point out is May and June of 2025 are the months that you're going to want to pay attention to, because those are the months where we have inflation being neutral. So if anything gets added, especially with these tariffs being implemented, then it should be quite interesting to see how it affects the CPI report. Nonetheless, markets reacted originally in a positive way. If we quickly pull up QQQ, we could see that during that pre-market session, 1 hour before the market opened, we saw a quick push, quickly gave it all back as markets continue to decline. Can't be surprised by markets declining slightly today because we had an insane push yesterday. Now, one thing I shared in yesterday's video after Trump announced that he was going to be pausing when it comes down to these tariffs, or at least reciprocal tariffs, is that I didn't view it to be a pause, right? And I also, based off of the way that he broke things down, is there's still a 10% tariff standard for every country out there and a 125% tariff on China. We're still waiting to hear if the US is going to strike a deal with China, because as of right now, there is no deal. So understand that volatility is still incredibly high and that we are one tweet away from either markets skyrocketing or markets crashing. So I don't want to be like, I feel like you guys have been really understanding my approach lately. I want to be neutral when it comes down to the markets being this oversold, because I knew how eager the markets were to recover. But for you to think, or for people to think that the market's just going to recover to all-time highs based off of one tweet and that we are no longer at risk of a recession, just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, we can't be that naive, can we? Like, things are still very tough when it comes down to the guidance for 2025, how companies are going to be ran, and also with this overall trade war. It's still going back and forth with China, and who knows how China is going to respond. We hope to hear that they are willing to settle and negotiate with the United States, but will they bend the knee? Very unlikely, in my opinion, especially to the United States. So if you guys haven't seen, the yen, which is the Chinese dollar, has seen one of its sharpest drops in like over 15 years. So they're not putting the Chinese in a very favorable position. So we'll see how they respond. When it comes down to my trade so far for Tesla, one thing that I want to point out very quickly is if you're part of my LPP team, please go watch today's live trading session if you didn't get the chance to tune on in live. So far on the day, I'm right around that $10,000 mark. And within today's live session, you actually get to see me short and even go long at one point on Tesla. So if you've never watched me trade live, again, feel free to go watch it. And it's going to be today's live trading session. If you're not yet part of my LPP team and you want to watch me trade live every single day, it's a one-time payment, lifetime access, and it's the second link in the description down below. And of course, it's designed for complete beginners. The thing that I want to remind you is that with the CPI report coming out lower than what is expected, it might give the Federal Reserve what they might need to justify a rate cut. And that would actually be very good news for the market. Because remember, if the Federal Reserve begins to cut interest rates, then again, it makes it less expensive for people like you and I to borrow money. But we'll see, right? Because we don't have the next FOMC meeting until May 6th or the 7th of 2025. So again, we're still weeks away from that, nearly a month away. So just something that, again, it's to look forward to, but we're definitely not there yet. With that being said, markets are retracing. You can't be surprised because markets pushed higher and harder yesterday than I've ever seen before. I think supposedly there were 2 other green days that were bigger in the market's history than yesterday. But think about it. Out of every other trading day, yesterday was the 3rd strongest push in history. I mean, We experienced that together. That's kind of cool, right? So very excited to see how the market continues to progress, or if things get worse before they get better. And in my opinion, again, this is going to be a challenge. We cannot assume that just off of one tweet that all of our problems are fixed, that we're no longer going into a recession, and that the trade war is no longer still present. Yes, it is all still very much a factor. So please stay patient, stay calculated. And the last thing you want to do is be hopeful that we have to recover now and then we just see another leg down. So let's take it day by day, week by week. We know the different factors and variables that we have to work with. So let's pay attention to them, and I'll make sure that I do my part in keeping you guys up to date. Stay patient, stay calculated. Don't be afraid to be invested, but don't go in blindly thinking that they have to recover right now. I appreciate your time. I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. And if you want to tune on in, second link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.